Hi, I'm Doug Adams, the Doug part of Doug's AppleScripts for iTunes, and today I'm going to show you some AppleScript tools to help with locating, eliminating, and repairing dead tracks and stray files in the iTunes library on your Mac. You know what a dead track is? When iTunes can't find the file for a track, it labels that track with an exclamation point. That is a dead track. You can't play it, and you can't edit its tags. It's dead, Jim. So why would there ever be dead tracks in your iTunes library? Well, you have to understand how iTunes keeps in touch with your media files. When a file is initially added to iTunes, iTunes creates a new entry for it in its database. Think of the iTunes database like a spreadsheet, with each track entry being a row of data. A track entry will contain the metadata from the file and the tags that you see in iTunes, and it includes the address to the location of the file. So when you play a track in iTunes looks in its database to get the address to the track's file, locates the file, grabs the audio data from the file, does some magic, and plays it. But when you go to play a track, and iTunes can't find the file using the address in its database, then iTunes' best-case assumption is that the file is probably, maybe temporarily, unavailable. So you'll still see the track listed in iTunes, but iTunes is letting you know with the exclamation point that, hey, you can't locate the file to play it. So that's why a dead track is a dead track. But how did it get that way? Well, here are some possibilities. Disconnecting the external drive that contains the iTunes media folder. Dragging media files to the trash and then emptying the trash. Swapping in an outdated multiple library configuration. Look, the common factor among all these situations is that iTunes expects a track's file to be at a specific address. But when it goes to that address, the file is either unavailable or inaccessible. So the first thing you might want to do is use the script list MIAs. MIA stands for Missing in Action. Launch the script and it will list all the dead tracks in your iTunes library along with their last known location. You can export this information as a text file too. Then once you've identified the dead tracks, you can do some further investigating. Maybe there's a problem with the files or the volume they're on. However, if you've trashed the original files and you know they're not coming back, you may as well just get rid of the dead tracks. The script super remove dead tracks will go through the entire iTunes library and simply delete every dead track it finds, no questions asked. Now, there's another situation that is kind of the opposite of dead tracks, and that's where there are files in the iTunes media folder that aren't listed as track entries in iTunes. Maybe you deleted a track, but you declined to trash its file in the trash confirmation dialog. Well, the file's probably still in the iTunes media folder somewhere. So the way to find these stray files is with an applet named Music Folder Files Not Added. It will search your designated iTunes media folder for any music or video files that, for whatever reason, don't have a corresponding track entry in iTunes. Once these files are listed, you can choose to add them back to iTunes as new tracks, or just send them to the trash. The last script I want to show you is called Track CPR. It not only lists the dead tracks in your iTunes library, it will help you reassociate them to a set of existing files. So after listing the dead tracks, you'll choose a folder that contains files with the same name as the files of the missing tracks. If it finds some, you can have the app reassociate the found file with the track in iTunes. So there you go. Sorry if you're having problems with dead tracks, but I hope you'll download one or more of these tools. And if you like what they do for you, support my work with a donation. It's really appreciated. I'm Doug from Doug's AppleScripts for iTunes, located at dougscripts.com. Talk to you next time.